Today on an all-new Dr. Phil, her kids live with her parents.
They want me to look incompetent. Therefore, they can gain custody of my children.
Her family says she's mentally ill.
Jenny is volatile, manic.
My mom's talking nonsense a lot of the time. Fear, shame, guilt, judgment. Big star and little star, Indian princesses. You know what I mean?
Or is she stable enough?
Has your mother attempted to perform an exorcism on you?
To get her children back.
I feel in a daze, and I look like an idiot. I know right now. Whatever. You know what? They took my daughter because they said I was a perpetrator of domestic violence.
Jennifer, the only person that's brought up you being a perpetrator is you. Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
I'll try to be an emotional compass and point you in the right direction.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. At the center of the family drama today is 40-year-old Jennifer, who says she once traveled to Paris at 18 to be a teenage model. Jennifer also says she is a wonderful mother to her children.
I have always been a good person, and I love all of my children, and I would do anything for them.
These are Jennifer's parents, Ann and Charles, who have a very different view of their daughter. They say Jennifer is mentally ill and has put her 6-year-old daughter in danger.
My daughter is completely unstable.
We had no choice but to rescue our grandchildren.
Jennifer's 18-year-old daughter, Sarah, sides with her grandparents.
My mom does crazy things, and she behaves crazy. I think she's mentally unstable.
And Jennifer's 20-year-old son, Josh, says he has excommunicated his mother for the past 2 years.
I'm very angry at her for what she's done to the family.
Now Jennifer's 3 children all live with their grandparents, Ann and Charles. But Jennifer insists everyone is wrong, and she even accuses her own parents of poisoning her children against her.
My 6-year-old daughter is living with my parents right now. I do believe that my parents have fraudulently gained custody of my daughter. My parents are claiming that I was diagnosed as bipolar and also schizophrenic. It's ugly, it's cruel, it's not true. They want me to look incompetent. Therefore, they can gain custody of my children. I also have 2 children, Sarah, who's 18, and Joshua, who's 20, who both live with my parents. We were all living together up until the spring of last year. I was divorced in 2008. My parents didn't want me to get divorced. That's why they took my children. My parents have poisoned the minds of my children against me. Right now, I barely talk to both of my parents. My dad has wanted nothing to do with me pretty much for the past 2 years. My parents are also making up stuff about me abusing a prescription. Well, I'm not using drugs right now, but I did use drugs in my past. I took Adderall because I had ADHD. I would be willing to take a drug test to prove I'm not abusing drugs. Right now, I get to see my daughter 1 day a week. I have supervised visitation. I'm a very good mother. I do deserve to parent my children, have them in my life. I want my daughter to live with me immediately. I miss her so much. I don't know if I'm going to make it.
Okay, Jennifer, let me just start in here. You have 3 children, correct?
Yes.
And none of the 3 are with you.
Correct.
2 of your children are of age now, so they're able to do whatever they choose to do. But we have a daughter here that's 6 years old, correct? And she now is in the temporary custody of your parents. And you feel that you are able to take care of her and that they have fraudulently obtained custody of her.
Yes, I do.
What is the fraud?
I have never been diagnosed by any psychiatric doctors except for the one that I saw. So there's 2 diagnoses. One says I'm schizophrenic, and the other says I'm bipolar. And
okay, but let me be very clear here, and I want to say this on behalf of all of the people and all of the parents in America right now that would have a diagnosis of bipolar or schizophrenia. That in no way precludes you from being a quality parent.
I agree.
If you did have a diagnosis of bipolar, that would not preclude you from being a quality parent. Why would that be a basis for removing a daughter from your care?
I agree with you. That was one of the things because my
we have a letter from your doctor at the beginning of 2014 that states that your diagnosis is ADHD.
Right.
And that your prescribed medication is a form of Adderall.
I don't, correct, and I don't take that anymore.
Here's the letter. January 31st, 2014, I'm writing this letter on behalf of my patient, Jennifer, and she has been a patient of mine since 2007. I have prescribed the following medications for her: attention deficit disorder with hyperactivity, ADHD. So the diagnosis here doesn't say bipolar or schizophrenia. It says it's been your doctor for 7 years, and the diagnosis is ADHD. ADD and ADHD. It doesn't say bipolar, doesn't say schizophrenia. It says your diagnosis is ADD, ADHD. So that certainly doesn't say that you are bipolar or schizophrenic, neither of which would preclude you as a parent, even if it did say that, but it doesn't say that. So you have right here a document from your doctor.
So what it said there, that was on record for my divorce too, and
that certainly goes to your support.
I paid for an evaluation, a current one, and a psychiatric doctor has to be a psychiatrist. That's sufficient enough to evaluate me. He had evaluated me in the past, and their reason was that they were concerned that I was abusing my prescription because it's Adderall.
But you're saying you don't even take it anymore.
No, I don't. The doctor...
But if you have this, do you not need to be taking it?
It helped me, but the thing is that you get immune to it after a while. You have to take like days off, and I felt like the doctor wanted me to go on a different medication when social services was involved.
Okay, so your point was...
I don't want to get that, I'm sorry.
So one point of fraud is, well, you're kind of jumping around, which made me wonder if maybe you need to be taken.
I do, because but the thing is, here's what I'd like to say. This doctor is very prominent in his field, so why are my family questioning me just because they don't agree or they have read about people abusing it? A controlled substance you can't abuse, they track it. I had the insurance cover me. Instead of asking me, they just assume and talk about it.
All right, well, and I'm trying to help you focus on this here. So I said, what are your points that you said that they've got them by fraud? You said one is that they stated that you were bipolar and schizophrenic, which I said would not be exclusionary criteria anyway, but you have a letter here, a doctor been treating you for 7 years that does not mention that, says what else? So we have that. Okay, what else? What other fraud?
Okay. Also, too, my family was saying different things about me. I noticed, I would say almost it sounded like a program, because that I was up all night doing erratic behavior, making erroneous statements, and they all gave information that was completely negative about me, and some of it was not true at all. And basically, I was told to be a perpetrator of domestic violence. That's a serious thing because they knew that I had no record or anything, and so they agreed that I had been, no one said anything to correct the information. And also, too, that meant that when the judge looked at that...
You said you were a perpetrator of domestic violence?
Yes, I have a history of domestic violence. That's what it says.
A perpetrator or a victim?
Perpetrator.
That you were beating up on someone?
Yes.
And were you?
No.
You never did that?
No.
Okay.
I've yelled before, and I've corrected myself. And I mean, I've been in counseling, and also there was no mention of why I was living there. It looked like That
Well, that's the second thing. You said that they said you were a perpetrator of domestic violence. All right, was there a third point of fraud that they brought against you that they used to leverage your daughter away from you?
I'm trying to think of everything. They said that I had been diagnosed, and I clearly have not had a record. I don't know who the doctor is. And what's said about
Diagnosed
me
with what?
with bipolar.
Well, we covered that on number
right.
one.
But my behavior that they gave information on makes me look, it's not true. And the thing is just because I am sitting in my car so that I can avoid conflict doesn't mean I'm out partying. There were times in my life when I partied. I admit that, but I was not partying like that. I was exhausted, and I was tired of every place that I was going, everyone having something negative to say. Not once did anyone sit down and ask me what happened with my housing, how can they help like that. It seemed like everyone was gossiping behind my back, and I didn't care so much like they have to like me. But what's frustrating is that what was said to social services, even in the past, my family members have called and reported me for ridiculous things. Okay, and it affected me because my custody was not what they said it was. Also, that's another thing. They know that my parents would keep they would have my children. I feel like they wouldn't answer the phone. And when I first moved out of my place, they locked me out that night, and I had put my stuff there. And my attorney had to call the police and tell them that they can't do that. They didn't have rights. Well, why would they lock me out just because they don't like me? It's a hardship to go through when you're having that kind of thing.
You felt like you had to step in and take this child because her very life was in danger.
We have had to call the police when she comes to the door, which you know is true, Jenny.
And later, approximate cash given Jennifer over 7 years, $30,000. That all totals up, just that, to $165,900.
Wednesday on an all-new Dr. Phil.
You think he steals money?
I believe so. You're gonna sit here and lie all day or what?
2 Amish Mafia stars.
Do you think he's rigging buggy races?
Yeah, I know he's rigging that.
Face off.
Don't make it sound like I'm so bad. I'm not Levi, but what I just got done saying it.
A Dr. Phil exclusive.
I can't trust him. He's one of those Amish guys that controls their women. Let me talk.
That's Wednesday.
We're going to bring your parents out here. Jennifer's parents here, Ann and Charles, are here. They say because their daughter Jennifer has exhibit irrational and unstable behavior that they have had to literally step in and save their grandchildren. Take a look.
Jenny is mentally ill. She lives in a fantasy world. She was diagnosed bipolar, but she doesn't want to believe it.
We never changed any of her mental history in order to gain access to the children.
Jenny is volatile, manic, moody, and irresponsible. She is always late and has trouble focusing. Those are symptoms of her mental health. She rambles on for hours.
I'm a holistic health practitioner. I'm having memories as I talk to you. I'm a Reiki practitioner. I do Chinese medicine. It accelerates it when they're in that energy of hatred and fear.
If she calls late at night, we have to hang up because she won't stop.
We do winged hard. Like my dad, we're on a train ride. Fear, shame, guilt, judgment. Big star and little star, Indian princesses. You know what I mean?
After she got divorced, my husband and I paid her rent for 3 years. While Jenny had the kids, she did not take care of them as a mother should. She rarely cooked, rarely shopped. She craves going out, partying every night, all night long. At that time, my husband and I decided to intervene. 3 of Jenny's children have been living with us for the last year.
We are not the enemies here. This was a situation that was put on our doorstep.
I want my granddaughter to be in a safe environment, and I really feel strongly that this is the best environment for her. Jenny has a court date next week. Jenny may lose her full parental rights to her daughter. That means no visitation, no contact, nothing. It makes me feel horrible, but she's not capable of being a good mother. I have no other choice.
thank you both for being here. And you've been listening to me talk with Jennifer and ask her some questions. She feels that you have her children, particularly her daughter, and that you have gotten her by means of fraud. And I asked her to kind of tell us why she felt that way. And she said one was that the diagnoses were wrong and that things had been said about her that were not correct. I think she had a difficult time articulating everything that she feels about that. But the truth is, you felt like you had to step in and take this child because her very life was in danger, correct?
Yes, that's
and
correct.
Tell me what triggered you, because, I mean, you weren't looking to raise young children
No.
at this point. You're retired.
That's right.
And this was not something that you had on your plan. What caused you to feel like you had to step in?
Jenny was staying out at night and dragging my granddaughter with her. And when she let us keep her and we would put her to bed, Jenny would come to the door at night and ask for money. If we confronted her about it, we ended up having to call the police to get her to leave. Mm-hmm. Even since we have had custody of my granddaughter, we have had to call the police when she comes to the door to get her to leave. Mm-hmm. Which you know is true, Jenny. Your favorite psychologist diagnosed you clearly as bipolar. Daddy and I were there. And called a psychiatrist friend of hers and made an appointment for you. You accepted the diagnosis, but you refused to keep the appointment.
Mm-hmm. Okay, in response to that, I don't recall the police ever coming out. I've called the police on you guys to have my children given back to me while you kept them. That's all I have on record. And I've known you said that, but really there would be no reason to, because I've never been violent there. And I remember, yes, she was concerned that I was bipolar, as well as guide me towards my career as a massage therapist, but she's a psychologist, not a psychiatrist. And I did do the diagnosis with an excellent doctor and the evaluation, and that's not what came up. She's not, they have to do an evaluation with all these questions. I didn't have that.
She recommended a good psychiatrist, and you refused to go.
She recommended a doctor that I went to once, and he did not do an evaluation.
Were you showing up at their doorstep demanding money and refusing to leave? They didn't give it to you?
I did do that before.
Were you showing up demanding money and you take your daughter if they didn't give you money?
No, I would take my daughter, and it was weird. They wouldn't want me to take her anywhere. I felt like they were taking over my parental role before I left.
Well, but were you showing up late at night wanting to take your daughter out after she was gone to bed and
One time, because I knew that the more that they kept her, any place I was at was wrong, and I understand.
But is that reasonable parenting to show up late at night, knocking on the door saying, give me money or my daughter? I mean, is that reasonable behavior?
It sounds very abnormal, but I mean, I haven't heard of any other family knowing their daughter's going through a hardship, keeping only the child and locking the daughter out.
I've expended approximately $200,000 in paying for our rent, our gas, car, food, etc.
I wish you would help me with an attorney.
Jenny, we paid $2,300 a month plus utilities.
And later, stop telling me what you're getting ready to tell me and just say it. What is the perspective that's being left out? Say it. Well, if it isn't Steve Harvey.
Well, well, well. If it ain't Dr. Phil.
Well.
Let's get on with it, buddy. Get ready for the biggest showdown in daytime history.
coming Thursday. The battle for supremacy begins. 2 men, 2 mustaches, 1 champion.
Clash of the Titan Talk Show.
What?
Clash of the Talk Show Titans. Only on Dr. Phil and The Steve Harvey Show.
You guys do have a foster care agreement, right?
Yes.
And in the foster care agreement, the foster parents agree to provide this child the nurture, care, clothing, and trailing suited to her needs, right?
That's correct.
And to encourage the child's relationship with her parents and relatives, and to cooperate with visiting arrangements between the child and the parents, right? So you understand that, and you're fine with that under healthy conditions, correct?
That's correct.
And you're good with that, right?
Yes, I am.
But have you been concerned with the shape and condition in which she sometimes wanted to be with or take her daughter?
I have. And the present arrangement is she has visitation with her daughter, supervised 3 times a week. And unfortunately, she lacks transportation, so she misses maybe a third of these visitations. And in addition, she's late for just about every visitation she's there. And we hope that we can get her help. And I also heard a few moments ago that we had not provided financial help to her, whereas the reality is over the past 5 years, I've expended approximately $200,000 in paying for her rent for 5 years, her gas, furnish a car, food, etc. And we simply hope that she can get well and be able to be a good parent for her daughter. But we don't see that happening unless she gets some type of help.
There's more to it. That it's the mean that when I divorced, I feel that I was struggling, not working, and you did help. I was grateful.
Jenny.
But you also claimed me as a total dependent.
Jenny, we paid $2,300 a month plus utilities.
I'm grateful for that. I am so grateful. I really thought you wanted
for
my kids.
4 years.
And when I moved when I divorced for the first 6 months, I lived on my own. I made it.
You were evicted.
I was not evicted from that place.
This is a level of detail that I think is really bogging down here. The point is, well, you say he claimed you as a total dependent. I think you were beyond a total dependent. We did the math on this, actually, and I looked at money Ann and Charles have spent on Jennifer and the grandchildren. I mean, it started back in '98, wedding reception, $12,000, vacation, $6,000, bailed out of jail for DUI, $1,000, attorney for second DUI, $5,000, rent, utilities for 3 years, $82,800, 1 car wrecked and 1 given away, $6,000, unpaid cash loan, $6,300. Grandchildren, food and lodging, very conservatively estimated at $16,800. Approximate cash given to Jennifer over 7 years, $30,000. That all totals up, just that, to $165,900. And that's not everything. That's just some of the main categories. I think if you add all the things together, I think it's well in excess of $200,000 across time. So
looks bad.
Well, it doesn't look bad. It just is what it is.
It makes me look, and I. The thing is,
it's not bad, good or bad. It just is what it is.
Right. I agree. I like that. It is, but I do have to say that there's also the problem that I had is that when I stopped getting, I used to get $2,000 a month. I wish you would help me with an attorney, because what I'm saying is that I'm saying this because I'm very much for not being a victim of anything, but you guys knew that my ex-husband was making a lot more money, and instead of maybe trying to talk to him, you would still babysit for him. Do you put that on there and not say, why are you letting him in your house doing things for him for free and then telling me how I have no money? I had given my career as a trainer for my kids. I was left with no money.
Excuse me. What's your point? Is there a point to this?
Yes, I'm having a hard time, Dr. Phil. I'm sorry.
Okay, we'll take a break. Next, we're going to add Jennifer's 18-year-old daughter, Sarah. She feels her mother is unfit to raise any children, and we're going to add her to this conversation next. And then I want to start talking about some of the things that these folks have had to react to. And you know, you kind of wonder sometimes when grandparents step in, if there's resentment and blame, when there should be a really big thank you. We'll talk about that when we come back.
I believe my mom's mentally ill right now. If my mom stays the way she is now forever, I don't think my sister should ever live with her again.
And later,
my granddaughter told me that one night when you were fighting with a boyfriend, she went to look for a knife to help you out.
She told me some things about you all, and I think that's why I'm crazy.
Jennifer is battling her own parents for the custody of her 6-year-old daughter. Now, Jennifer's parents, Ann and Charles, say Jennifer is mentally unstable, so they have applied to actually adopt their young granddaughter. Jennifer's oldest daughter, 18-year-old Sarah, sides with her grandparents because she believes her mother is irrational and, in her words, crazy and just not mentally healthy. Take a look, and then we'll meet her.
I believe my mom's mentally ill right now. It's extremely hard to have a conversation with my mother. I feel like she's talking nonsense a lot of the time.
Well, there was the black mold that you can't see behind the walls that can kill people.
For a lot of my life, I felt like I've been more of a mother in the mother-daughter relationship, and me telling her right from wrong, Mom, you can't do that. I definitely feel like it's not fair for other people having to keep taking responsibility for my mom. My mom had us. We're her children. I think it's her responsibility to grow up and take care of us. My mom has always seemed to find men that are completely willing to give her whatever she asks for. A place to stay, money, food, and just basically mooches off of them. I started living with my grandparents when I was 17. There's a lot of structure and routine that my sister and I need as children to just grow up and have a normal life. If my mom stays the way she is now forever, I don't think my sister should ever live with her again.
Okay, I'm glad you're here, and I want to hear what you have to say. My whole purpose in all of this is to set an objective and a goal to try to keep everything going in a positive direction. But you can't change what you don't acknowledge. You can't work on what is not on the list. And the truth is, you feel that your mother is not acknowledging the reality of what's going on here. True?
True. I feel like right now you're just acting like you're just not admitting to the mistakes that you know you've made. You told me you're going to come on this show and you're going to try and get help and you're going to try and get me in back, but to do that, you can't sit here and just point the finger on everyone else. I understand that, yeah, you believe some things didn't work out the way they should and some things were said about you that weren't true, but if you really want help, you're going to have to man up and say, I shouldn't have done that. I should have been a better parent. I should have done these things, and I'm willing to change, and I'm willing to be that person, instead of just sit here and say, well, they only gave me this money because of this, and they only did this because of this. Just say, thank you for the help, and I don't want you to have to give me that help anymore. I want to be able to do that on my own.
Sarah, thank you. I thought that I had said that, and I do admit, but what specifically I was targeting is I feel that there's a different perspective that is being left out here that is a key factor, and it's not to
Okay, what
change
is it?
it.
Stop telling me what you're getting ready to tell me and just say it. What is the perspective that's being left out? Say it. What is it?
It's a cycle right now, and yes, I have made mistakes. Yes.
No, what is being left out?
Okay.
Mom,
No, stop. Give me, what is it that's being left out? Fill it in. Fill in the blank.
It is that in November when I moved out of my condo and the things that have happened, I was hospitalized. I had a subconjunctival hemorrhage. I'm not a victim. And my dad would sit in a different booth when we'd go out with my daughter with his back to me because he doesn't like me. And he says exactly the same things my ex-husband used to say. You clearly knew that I was not a perpetrator of domestic violence. You know that I was never a convert. You found me in cars in a fetal position. You knew when I had that hemorrhage on my face. Why didn't you say, this is off? I never lost custody. He had a felony arrest.
It was wrong.
I was not arrested because it's a pattern. It's a thought of a way of life where I'm a crazy person. I'm this, and I have acted crazy. But I'm telling you, it's imperative when someone who had a down, when there's only people around who point out the faults and exaggerate all that. It's detrimental.
All right, Jennifer.
You know, is what I'm saying. I'm agreeing that I made mistakes.
I'm going to interrupt you here.
Go ahead.
Okay.
It's illegal, too, in the court. It's not funny. It's not, because I'm not a victim, but they're supposed to handle cases a certain way. And
Jennifer, is your point that there have been times when you have been attacked and beaten that your family could have come to your aid and protection and they failed to do so in a timely and responsive fashion?
That's not what I'm saying is that they're leaving out information. Like, and what I'm saying is that it does.
Well, then let me ask you some questions, Sarah, if I can then, and maybe this can fill in. Has your mother attempted to perform an exorcism on you? You got in a fight with her, with hair pulling and all that, to the point that they had to separate y'all and give you separate rooms?
Yes, so said I was going to call the police on her, and we ended up getting in a fight.
And later, Jennifer, just talk to me. You're talking to the floor.
I'm kind of upset with you a little bit. You're sitting here, I feel in a daze.
Wednesday on an all-new Dr. Phil. An Amish Mafia star.
I don't trust him.
Comes under attack.
You think he steals money?
I really believe so. You're gonna sit here and lie all day or what?
That's Wednesday.
Has your mother attempted to perform an exorcism on you?
Yeah, she's gone to a point where when she gets angry, she will get in like outrageous, like crazy fights with people, and she would just get so angry that she's ruthless, and she'll say whatever she wants, and she'll make the other person so angry, and I would get so mad, and she would say things to me like, whoever you are inside of Sarah, get out in the name of the Father, Son, and act like as if I'm getting an exorcism.
Has this happened in the car?
I think it was at my grandparents' house. She did it to my grandpa.
She exercised me also.
Okay, she's done it with you too. I'm speaking to them for a minute.
I know.
I talked to you, and I didn't let anybody interrupt you. I want to ask some questions here. Now, did you get into a confrontation with her to the point that you walked to Newport?
One time I just couldn't be around her because we went to lunch, and she ended up bringing some like homeless friend that she had there, and I just didn't want to be around her. And
you got in a fight with her with hair pulling and all that, to the point that they had to separate y'all, give you separate rooms?
Yes, she was drinking, and I said I was going to call the police on her, and we ended up getting in a fight, and my brother went downstairs and got the hotel security, and they ended up just asking me if I wanted to call the police or just get another room, and I just didn't want any more confrontation, so I just got another room.
Okay, and you said that you've filled in a lot doing mothering of your little sister in helping out your grandparents, and you said part of the problem is that your mother just doesn't believe in school.
Yeah, she refused to take her to school, and then she didn't like one of the principals at one school, so she wouldn't take her there, and she took her out of like 2 different schools, and then finally just stopped taking her to kindergarten until that's when my grandparents really had to step in and get custody so they would be able to take her to school, because my grandpa would have to bribe my mom so she could go and pick my little sister up and take her to school in the morning.
And you said there were times where she would pick her up hours late at school or at the Y.
Yeah, she would either have my grandparents pick them up, but then she got mad at them and took them off the list. And sometimes I would even go pick up because she could never be anywhere on time, so she would never be able to be there by the time limit of like when they can be there, and all the charges, of course, my grandparents would pay.
It's a program.
Yeah, it is true.
It's a program. It's all the same things, and I have been late.
No,
but
it's not we're saying the same things. We're saying the same things.
I know.
Yeah, you're right.
You're leaving
but
a big
we're all
factor
telling the
out.
truth.
Yeah, but did you, well, I asked you about the factor and I couldn't get to it, but did you tell the people at the social services agency that you felt like they were a human trafficking agency?
No.
Using children to create federal funding?
That's not, no, I quoted what I heard on news.
Did your daughter tell social services that you didn't feed her?
Yeah, that's been said about me for years.
Have y'all noticed that she hoards food?
I'm not allowed to take care of my child.
If you are going to be in the Los Angeles area and you would like free tickets, go to drphil.com and click on Be in the Audience.
Or you can call 323-461-PHIL. Did your daughter tell social services that you didn't feed her?
Yeah, that's been said about me for years. They checked my refrigerator.
Did your daughter tell social services that you didn't feed her?
I don't believe she said any of that. She said that she's afraid of me and that I'm...
Did she tell them that you slapped her and called her names?
She said that she was afraid of me, but I don't think she said that. Other people said that they were concerned for her safety.
Did she tell them that you didn't bathe her?
Yes. I don't know if she told them that or not, but that's what she hears everyone say all the time, because that's the same thing everyone says about me. They say it so much, that's why I'm not allowed there. I requested to be the only one to bathe her.
Have you noticed
to be the only
that
one to
she
take care of her.
Have y'all noticed that she hoards food?
I'm not allowed to take care of my child.
Have you noticed that she hoards food? She eats part of it and saves part of it?
When she came to us, she said, "Grandma, can I make a sandwich?"
She overeats with you guys.
She doesn't overeat.
I don't...
She said, "Grandma, may I make a sandwich?" And I said, "Sure," because she's a very independent little girl. And she made a sandwich, cut it in half, ate half, and I said, "Put the other half in the fridge. Grandpa'll eat it. He eats everything." And
he does.
Yes, he does. She said no. She wrapped it and took it to bed with her.
Okay.
I don't think
you do a great job. Thank you.
Mom, in that time in your life, you were so caught up with the mold and the apartments.
Did you believe that each apartment you were in had mold?
I had it tested. It was uninhabitable. She had it on a breathing machine. I had rash. I'm not making this up. I didn't bring the documentation.
Did you say you believed that the government was actually run by the drug mafia?
No, I never said that.
You never said that?
I never said that. What I had said, which is ridiculous when I was first in the courts, is you go to these classes that are empowerment, and they teach you how to have healthy relationships, 10-week courses. Sarah did one with me. And there's things I learned that are patterns when there's someone who is that are common, and the things are associated with organized crime and whatever. And I was quoting what I learned in the classes in regards to what I thought was happening with my ex and the family. And basically, I was misquoted the entire time, and I look like an idiot. I think it's funny, too, and I really am not.
Well, I'm glad you're clearing that up.
But the thing is,
I'm glad you're clearing it up. That's why I'm giving you a chance to clear it up.
And also, too, on one social worker's report, my car had broken down, which I didn't have a car, is why I'm late to my visits.
Why don't you have a car, Jenny? We gave you one.
Because I couldn't afford to pay all the parking tickets I got for the street sweeping. It's true, and I went to pay them, and I was a little short, but they didn't accept payments. So it was towed off private property, but I couldn't afford to get it out. So I think that for me, getting rides to see my daughter...
You not know, once you get a parking ticket, you know they'll give you a parking ticket there, right?
Right. Well, it's street sweeping. You don't know the days. You can't always see, and I was looking for places to stay.
Always signs.
It's the truth. It sounds ridiculous, but I didn't have anywhere...
So you got so many tickets that you lost your car?
Yes.
Yeah. If you imagine, though, I never had problems like this with my housing before. I was a good tenant.
Okay, there's one more family member who says he has basically cut his mother out of his life. It's Jennifer's 20-year-old son, Josh. He's going to join us next. We'll be right back.
Are you going to let me?
My little sister's in danger with my mother because she's been seen out with her at 3 in the morning in her car seat, still up. My mother has extreme mood swings from highs to lows. At 1 minute, she'll be really happy, and the other, she could be extremely angry.
Ready to get real? Go to drphil.com for advice on relationships, parenting, finances, and more. Plus, weigh in on your favorite episodes, share your stories, and find support in the Dr. Phil community. When you sign up for the community, you will automatically be subscribed to the Dr. Phil Show newsletter. Log on to drphil.com today. Well, we're out of time today. Tomorrow, things heat up even more. We'll hear from Jennifer's 20-year-old son, Josh, who says he excommunicated his mother from his life. He wants to confront Jennifer face-to-face. Jennifer also insisted that producers set up a drug test to prove she's not addicted, as her family claims. We're going to find out if she passes. You will not want to miss this. Take a look.
Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phil.
That's the way my brain is wired. I get lost in different things. And how do I...
Look, you say you want to get better. You're making no effort.
Where's my opportunity to talk just because
You've been talking the whole time.
When her family can't get through to her.
Jennifer, just talk to me.
I'm kind of upset with you a little bit.
Dr. Phil stops the show.
I'm going to excuse you four.
And has a one-on-one.
I felt it was important for me to let my daughter know.
Jennifer, I need you to stop talking for a minute.
I can't. I have a disorder and I get nervous.
I need you to stop
I get in trouble. I think you only want me to say it on your viewpoint, and I think the direction is incorrect.
I need you to stop talking.
I'm not at you.
What?
I'm not at you.
That's tomorrow.
I'd like to thank all of my guests today. We'll see you tomorrow.